Alright, for today's Best of 2022 category, we're going to Best Shooter. What game wowed me with the best pew-pewing for the year? For this year was yet another banner time for boomer shooters, shooter legs, arcade boomers, however you want to describe it. And for the Contender Award, well, again, it's going to go to any of the many GC Doom developed games, whether they were partial conversions, full conversions, whatever conversions. So, for you watching, do you have your favorite boomer shooter? And let me know in the comments down below. For the honorable mention of 2022, I'm going to give it to Shadow Warrior 3. That game you may have forgotten that it even came out in 2022. Trading the role-playing shooter aspects of the second game back to the more single-player arcade level-by-level routes of the first game, with even more crude and rude humor. The shooting was certainly on point, the gunplay was great to do, and the game really leaned into this idea of this kind of like amusement park of death for every one of its arena fights, with you being able to grapple, jump, shoot, perform special kills, and so on. With that said, what keeps it from making it to the top 3 is that it was a bit on the repetitive side, especially with the jokes and such repeating quite a bit, and it didn't really stick out as much as a memorable first-person shooter, hence why I'm sure a lot of you forgot about. But if you are a fan of Doom Eternal, push-forward combat, and don't mind a lot of low wang jokes, then it's still a great FPS for the year. Alright, for third place, well, we're going to do things a little bit differently on top of this already different Game of the Year series. Number 3 is going to go to the two GZ Doom kind of full conversion games that I played that I really enjoyed for different reasons. First, we have Headbanging, which got a major expansion / upgrade, and this is a kind of first-person open-world quasi-Metroidvania style game. When your underground town and village has been destroyed by the bad guys, you are going to go on a one-woman quest to rip and tear until it's done. If you're a fan of the very, 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 very wide open levels and environments of classic FPSs, Headbanging is going to do that in spades. Each level is massive, with multiple secrets, areas to explore. It is certainly not on the easy side. This is one of those games where you'll get a key over here, and the door will be somewhere over here that you need to remember exactly where to go. And the approachability, I think, is not the best. I think that could also be limitations of GZ Doom as well. But if you enjoy, again, like the classic, wide, expansive level design, then Headbanging is certainly a great one to play. One last point before we go to the second, third place. Headbanging was originally released in 2019, but it was in 2022 that the game kind of had both its second episode release, and then both were kind of combined to one mega game, kind of like a Sonic and Knuckles kind of ordeal. So right now, when you go to the store page, you can buy Headbanging Bloodright, and that is kind of the complete compilation, and that's why I'm kind of giving it as the 2022 nom. Speaking about wide open design, the other GZ Doom mod that I'm giving, or GZ Doom full conversion mod, I should say, that I'm giving bronze to is Vomitorium. Yes, that is the name of it. This is an open world first-person Metroidvania shooter, which is certainly a descriptor. So this game takes place far distant, very post-apocalyptic land. The world is dead, everything is mutated, and you are going to have to try and put things right by running around and shooting things and growing in power. But the qualifier of being a Metroidvania certainly stands on point. As you play, you unlock different upgrades, you'll be able to do more movement tech, get more guns, and so on. And this game definitely has a very great atmosphere, considering it being built off of GZ Doom. So it's not exactly going to be like a super detailed 4K game, but the aesthetics are certainly on point. And like a lot of the great games, it definitely tells a story that feels like could fit within a larger narrative. It is not the longest game by any stretch. I think we beat this in 2.5, 3 hours on stream. But again, another great example of not only the creativity from the modding scene, but how there's so much life and vitality and diversity of these designs that are coming from these kinds of game engines like GZ Doom, the Mario Maker scene, and so on and so forth. So, if you don't mind the name Vomitorium and looking for a great Metroidvania style shooter, definitely recommend it for you. You know what, folks? Let's just throw out the rules for these shooter categories. There are just so many to play. So I'm giving, once again, a double award for silver, which means that instead of a top 4, what are we up to? Top 7, 8? I don't even know anymore for this category. But two really fantastic shooters that did things very differently that I can't really decide which one I would place above the other for the silver category. So the first one goes to Neon White. Neon White is once again, or is the latest example of the idea of a speedrun shooter, where it's not just about you shooting, running, and jumping, but you gotta do it fast and stylish. And when it comes to that fast and stylishness, Neon White certainly has that in spades. The aesthetics are definitely standing out, trading in dark and hellish environments for bright and heavenly, as you run, jump, shoot, slash, and more to get through these levels. There's a kind of puzzle element to Neon White, with how it's not just going to be about how great you are at aiming and shooting, but figuring out how can I shave off seconds off of my time. And something that can be not only knowing where the enemies are, but figuring out how to just skip entire chunks of a level, or kill that enemy that would take you a minute and a half over there, and just snipe it and just move on. The story is admittedly a little bit on the cringy side. They're definitely leaning towards super heavy anime inspirations for it, and it didn't quite work for me all that much. But again, from a first-person shooter standpoint and just that feel of moving around, it is a fantastic game. And if you do like your shooters with also figuring out the technical side of getting from point A to point B, definitely check out Neon White. And so I guess for Silver Place Part 2, I'm giving it to Metal Hellsinger. This was the kind of Doom Eternal meets rhythmic, timing-based shooter. So for this one, not only do you have to rip and tear, but you have to do it to a beat. The game features music from many notable metal bands, and if you are a metalhead, you may just enjoy this game for the soundtrack alone. But for Metal Hellsinger, this is a game that is not about as fidelity or as technical of, say, Doom Eternal, because of the fact that it is rhythmically based, and that provides its own level of challenge. Each weapon has its own alternate fire, and you'll have to figure out how to do it all while keeping to the beat while dodging enemies. Since we played it, they have actually added more to the game, including hidden collectibles, bonus challenges, more weapon combos to get scores from, and it is a fantastic kind of first game from the studio. What kind of hurts, at least for me, is that it is still, at the end of the day, a rhythmic-based game. I had to turn off all the beat indicators and beat sounds to make it even playable for me, because I am terrible at these games. But if you are someone who loves kind of rhythmic-based challenges in your games, or music-based like this is an easy nod for you to play. Bonus points if you are a metalhead as well. Alright, so for number 1, I only have one pick, which is good for me right now, but with all the really great early access FPSs that will be doing out in 2023, I can't imagine how I'm going to decide between them in 1 year's time. But I'm going to break my list another way for number one of Best Shooter of 2022, and that is going to go to Cultic Episode 1. Cultic Episode 1, the series is, or the entire game is technically going to be coming out in different chapters, but the first episode is released as kind of its own standalone game. And this game draws heavy inspiration from the likes of Blood, where not only going to be running, shooting, and jumping, but you're going to be throwing lots and lots of explosives around. The game has a very kind of like chunky pixel aesthetic to it that is also a nightmare when it comes to buffering on when you're streaming it. But it has some fantastic level design. These levels, outside of going back to Hidan and more open world style FPSs, are some of the largest I've seen. Again, complete with its own secrets, multiple paths, lots of enemies, and apparently lots of uses for fire. So the game handles really well. You have your variety of weapons, they can be upgraded, and the game does a really good job of introducing a lot of varieties of enemies. From those that will be charging at you to a very annoying snipers, lots of snipers I should say, all as you're moving through each one of the levels. And this is another game that really nails the moment-to-moment gunplay that any good first-person shooter should have. And if the ending of this chapter is any indicator, then the remaining episodes are going to get very crazy in terms of new designs, new enemies, new challenges, and we'll see if it can go as off the path as Dust did when it got to its third and final episode. But again, this was a very banner boomer year for the shooter genre, and there are going to be a whole lot more to talk about next year, or should I say this year, at the time of me recording this. So if you have your favorite game that you're excited about in 2023, let me know as well in the comments down below. Do the liking, subscribing, and commenting. Check out our Discord and Patreon, and we'll be back again for another part as this never-ending best of 2022 episode or series continues.